Welcome back to Palestine Bookshelf. I'm Stephen Heiner, and today I'm going to be discussing On Palestine by Noam Chomsky and Ilan Pappe. I've actually done a review for this already on my main Stephen Heiner channel, which I'm pretty happy with. I'll put a link in the description as well as a card. And this is a sequel to Gaza in Crisis, which is another collaborative book in which we have essays from both authors as well as a couple interviews, conversations between the two, facilitated by Frank Barat. And in neither of the reviews I've already done on the main channel, as well as the review I already did for Gaza and Crisis for Palestine Bookshelf, I haven't talked about Frank, and I feel I'm going to use this review. I feel it's best to use this review to highlight him. And so I'm just going to read from the introduction in which he talks about this project. How did you become an activist? Why Palestine? These are the types of questions many activists will be asked at one point or another when talking about their life, work, and motivations with a non-activist person. While I often want to reverse the question and ask, why aren't you an activist? I usually decide with insight to try my best in answering this potentially frustrating question. Why? Because I think it is important to understand where the questions are coming from, and it is as important to look inside yourself, take a step back, relive your journey, pause, and realize that you too, not that long ago, may have asked the same questions of anyone engaged in working toward a better world, where equality, justice, and freedom apply to all, regardless of nationality, ethnicity, country of origin, skin color, political affiliation, or sexual orientation. How then does one become an activist? The easy answer would be to say that we do not become activists, we simply forget that we are. We are all born with compassion, generosity, and love for others inside us. We are all moved by injustice and discrimination. We are all inside concerned human beings. We all want to give more than to receive. We all want to live in a world where solidarity and companionship are more important values than individualism and selfishness. We all want to share beautiful things, experience joy, laughter, love, and experiment together. But we have a problem, a big one. We live in a society and an epoch where we do not have time to think any longer. We live in a time when taking a step back and a deep breath have become a luxury that many cannot afford. We live in a world where the mainstream education system teaches you to obey and listen to authority from the earliest age and does not offer you the chance to think for yourself and express yourself in ways that are outside the proclaimed norm. We live in a society where the nothing, shopping, watching TV, has become a something, and the something, relaxing, meditating, sharing, has become a void in need of being filled. Our minds, our souls, have slowly been corrupted by materialistic nothingness that has been created for us, billboarded in front of our eyes, and printed, tattooed on our cells by advertising, marketing, and vulture capitalism. The remote control of our world only has two buttons, play and fast forward, while the one we are all looking for is the pause. I became an activist through books. After having worked since my early 20s in various menial jobs, and like a good citizen doing my 9 to 5, looking away at the ticking clock, enjoying my life for the reasons I was told were needed to enjoy it, fulfilling the potential that I had been allowed to have by society and its leaders, I stopped. I quit my job, moved from the city I had been living in for the last 6 years, and started studying again. I read loads of books and realized that I wanted this period, which was supposed to be temporary, because of the dread of unemployment and boredom potentially creeping in, to last forever. Reading and feeling enlightened by these books really played a big part in changing my vision of life and what it was supposed to mean. I started reading Chomsky and slowly became very interested in anything that had to do with Israel and Palestine. Reading Edward Said, Mahmoud Darwish, Hassan Kanafani, John Berger, Tanya Reinhardt, Ilan Pappe, Norman Finkelstein, Noam Chomsky, Kurt Vonnegut, Arundhati Roy, Naomi Klein, all became part of my daily routine. Books changed me, and I think that they are, more than anything else, one of the best tools we can use to learn, reflect on, and truly understand the world we are living in. They are a bridge between languages, continents, and people. A book will accompany you and will stay with you. It will mark you like nothing else. You will go back to it, quote it, argue about it. You will borrow one and lend one. The written word, in my opinion, is therefore more effective and long-lasting than the spoken one as a tool for change. I felt very lucky and privileged when, in 2008, two of the authors I had read again and again on Palestine, Professors Noam Chomsky and Ilan Pappe, agreed to work on a book with me. Our long email exchanges became Gaza in Crisis, Reflections on Israel's War Against the Palestinians, which found a broad audience and was translated into many languages. After the book, Noam, Ilan, and I continued talking, mostly via emails. One day, during a meeting with Ilan in Brussels, we both came to the conclusion that a follow-up to that book was necessary. One thing that had indeed left me frustrated working on Gaza in Crisis was how the email exchanges between Noam and Ilan were not interactive. Noam answered a set of questions and Ilan did the same. The two authors had no way to respond to or argue with each other. Ilan and I therefore decided that if another book were produced, it would have to consist of face-to-face conversations. Truly excited by the prospect, I emailed Noam, pretty sure that he was not going to be available due to his extremely busy schedule. To my surprise, Noam responded positively, and a few months after I sent the email, Ilan and I boarded a plane for Boston to meet Noam in his office at MIT. In preparing the questions and the topics we were going to address, I thought that it was important to start with the past. Some commentators argue that you should always look forward, think about the future, that thinking about the past tends to be a stumbling block that impedes on the negotiations, the peace process. They are, often on purpose, missing the point. The past, as far as Palestine and Palestinians are concerned, is 1948, the Nakba, and the ethnic cleansing of two-thirds of the population. Yes, two-thirds. Try to put this in perspective and do the math with the country you are living in right now. That was expelled from historical Palestine to make space for a new state, Israel. It is a not-so-distant past. We are not talking about centuries ago. It is a very present past for all Palestinians. Talking about it, analyzing it, is therefore crucial to understanding the current situation. Understanding Zionism is also key, and the two professors have slightly different perspectives about the matter. In discussing the present, we focused on the role of civil society and the impact it can have on radically changing the narrative and actual policies on the ground. The huge growth and the impact of the boycott, divestment, and sanction movement cannot be underestimated in putting Palestine back on the map. The BDS movement helped rejuvenate and rebuild the solidarity movement worldwide. It offered a step-by-step guide, with flexibility depending on the different national interests, on how to turn from a defensive stance to an offensive one. The BDS movement asserted, let's stop trying to justify our actions, let's act. This made for very engaging discussions. The BDS movement is a subject of debate between Professor Pappe and Professor Chomsky, and both this book and Gaza in Crisis allow room for differences between the two. I do think there is something to gain by enabling this conversation, that it can be constructive and reinforce the struggle for Palestinian rights. Finally and obviously, we talked about the future, the day after question. What is actually meant, practically, by a free Palestine? What kind of state is possible? Is a state the solution? How will Palestinians and Israelis share the country? What constitution will be drafted? While it is important to focus on the present, as things on the ground are getting worse every day, having a clear strategy and political vision is crucial if we want people around the globe to see what is possible. With that, the conversation part was concluded, and as far as I was concerned, that was good enough. Ilan, however, thought we needed something more. He offered to write what I think is an amazing and incredibly timely and challenging original piece called The Old and New Conversations. It is a rallying call to move forward, change gears, and totally rethink the vocabulary we use when it comes to the Palestine question, to use semantics as an educating tool for change. And I remember, I think when I read that essay, I learned about how we shouldn't use the term peace process, or at least not allow someone to say it without having a conversation. Say, is there really such a thing as a peace process? Is there really such a thing as a two-state solution? This piece makes, in my opinion, the book a much better and solid one. It fills in the blanks and opens up the debate to the world. But something brought us back to the present in a most forceful way, another Israeli aggression in Gaza. Shortly after we submitted this book to the publisher, Israel was at it again, mowing the lawn, as they horrifyingly call it. The carpet bombing of an imprisoned population by its occupier, with the support of most Western states, spurred Ilan and Noam to write additional contributions. Working on the book again while Israel was indiscriminately carpet bombing a population of 1.8 million Palestinians was often very difficult. When things are radically wrong, writing does not feel like the most obvious response for an activist. Writing while extremely angry and useless often does not produce the best results. I was glad to see some of my close friends involved in civil disobedience actions all over the world. It gave me strength and faith. With good people like that around, the struggle, after all, might not be endless. But the writing was essential, and I hope that this book will help challenge the narrative of the powerful, the PR of governments, repeated in loop by the corporate media that helps justify the crimes, that allows them to be committed, that paralyzes people. The Palestine question is emblematic of what is wrong with the world. The role played by Western states, the complicity of corporations and of various institutions make this case a very special one. The fact that Israel actually benefits from violating international law and receives red carpet treatment from the West means that we all have a role to play in ending the injustice that the Palestinians are facing. The injustice in Palestine has ramifications throughout the world. From Ferguson to Athens, via Mexico, it is clear that many governments are reproducing the tools that Israel uses to repress and oppress the Palestinians. The replication of those same tactics, methods, and often weapons serves as proof that the Palestinians are now used as guinea pigs for experimentation. And Palestine is a great laboratory. Exploring the Palestine case is therefore crucial for understanding where we stand as human beings and what we stand for. Finding a solution to this question could then open the door to a new vision, to a new world, to new possibilities for all of us. Palestine is slowly becoming global, a social issue that all movements fighting for social justice need to embrace. The next step is connecting the dots between various struggles around the world and creating a truly unified front. We are many. We will prevail. Frank Barat, Brussels, September 2014. And as I was reading that, I'm sure those of you who watch the channel and have heard my opinions on things will know Frank and I do not agree on things. Where he's talking about connecting the dots of various social movements, I probably do not agree with some of the causes that he espouses. That's okay. Palestine and its issues bring together a many-colored cloak of people who are all interested in supporting the Palestinian people and working towards justice. It doesn't mean that we all have to agree on other things. As much as people would like to make that happen, there are going to be a diversity of opinions. And even within this book, there's a diversity of opinions between Chomsky and Pappe as they work through various solutions and various ways of framing things. And I appreciated that, and it was so nice to see that people who know so much about this issue and have experienced so much themselves in Israel can still disagree about approaches and methods. So don't feel tied to a particular way of helping, or don't feel a need to be in solidarity outside of Palestine, outside of Palestinian issues, with the people you're working with. The best way for us to work forward is to accept help from as many people as possible, and work that way, rather than focusing on the differences we might have outside of Palestine. So if you'd like to get a copy of this short but helpful, insightful book, there's a link in the description. That's one of the ways that you can support this channel. If you're going to buy it anyway, use our link and help us. A free way you can support the channel is by hitting like and subscribe, sharing this with people who might be interested. If you'd like to thank me for this presentation, there are links to PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee. Below that are links to Patreon and YouTube membership. You'll get early access to videos like this one. You'll have a chance to chat with me behind the scenes, and you'll also get videos that I don't release to the general public. If you'd like to sponsor a video in the future, browse my Amazon wish list. That's linked below. You'll see books on Palestine. That's obviously for this project. But if you see other books, they're probably for my main Stephen Heiner channel. If you'd like, feel free to look over there. But if you buy the book and send it to me, I will then do my best to review it in a timely manner, and it's a way for you to sponsor a video in a way. You'll also see links to the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. They're a medical charity that helps Palestinian children get medical care who could not otherwise get it. Our goal as we work towards monetization as a channel is to send 100% of our profits to them, whatever that might be. And the way that you can help us is by watching as many videos as you can. That moves our view hours up to a point where we can get monetized and see what we can do to help. So go check them out directly in the meantime. Contribute to them directly, but if you want to help them indirectly, watch and learn here. Until next time, enjoy your reading.